Too bad that. Hey, welcome to Spitter Swallowed Beer. We're drinking and thinking. Too bad that didn't rip open all the way.
Yeah.
Leave it to Jammer to give us a crappy video. Hey, I'm Shagdog.
JammerFan here again to assist Shagdog in some thinking and maybe drinking.
Yes. The only way to assist me in drinking is get me down with a
and
funnel.
also drinking and also thinking. I've got some beer. Yeah, we're
Force me
drinking.
to do some shotguns, some beers, or some funnels, or something. Yeah.
I in my while you were hanging out in my stead, there was another one in the this is the last one though. I got another one, so I got this and another beer.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be popping them. We're gonna be popping and talking, right? We're gonna be popping beers, talking about stuff.
So we're just trying to pop up off the top of our mind, like improv it, drinking and thinking.
Improv it. I have an idea, but I don't want to take away from you. I want to see what you've been maybe brewing. What you want to talk about?
Man, it's late in the day. I woke up too early today, so.
All right, I'll throw what I want to talk about out there. So last night on Netflix, I rewatched the movie Heat with Al Pacino and Val Kilmer, Robert De Niro. Even though I'm talking about came out in 1995. Michael Mann directed it.
Yeah, I don't recall the movie, but I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking, we talk about the best crime capers, whether they're in a movie, real life, whatever. What are the most influential, people stealing stuff or movies about stealing? I don't know. That might be hard to come up with a lot, but I want to see
stealing or any type of crime.
Any type of crime, just criminal masterminds.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
I probably won't be good at it. I mean, some big ones I might know.
Either. I was thinking about all the movies that come out, like The Irishman. Have you watched The Irishman on Netflix? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's good. But
that Mafia. I recently watched Casino with Sharon Stone and Joe Pesci. You remember that?
Right. Yeah.
And what I liked about that movie is that the gun they used to assassinate everybody was a .22. Everybody always thinks 22s are lame, but they had a silencer on it, and they could just go. They'd shoot you in the back of the head 4 times, pop, 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 pop. And then a couple times in the back of the chest. They come right up behind you. Pop, 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 pop. Pop, pop.
That's what? 22 revolver or some type of 22 pistol?
22 pistol. 22 automatic.
What am I thinking? What the hell's a revolver called?
Yeah, it's just called a revolver. I mean, is
there a 22 revolver? I can't remember now.
Yeah, there's a 22 revolver. Yeah.
Okay.
So they recently came out with a 22 Tommy gun that uses the 22 the rifle rounds. I think they're called 22 LR. Yeah. I think they're the long range 22s, and that's why they're called LR, right? They're the 20. They're you basically a lot of people have those guns for shooting varmints like coyotes and other stuff. Right. It's a 22 long range rifle. It's not a handgun. Well, somebody made a Tommy gun that's got a 60 round drum of 22. And I'll tell you what, dude, if somebody's hitting you with 80 rounds a second of 22 caliber bullets, I don't care if they're small bullets, it's going to suck for you.
Yeah. I think that's what we use. My memory's going bad. I think we had a 22 revolver at one point before we switched to 9mm when I worked in corrections.
Yeah. I mean, 22 is it's basically almost a non-lethal round. I mean, because it's so small that you could shoot somebody in the shoulder or chest somewhere, and it might not blow up and sever a bunch of arteries and stuff. It's just it's just kind of like a huge BB gun, or something, But there's a lot of 22 enthusiasts though that are they'll fuck you up, especially if you have a Tommy gun. It's just yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I never shot anything with a 22 besides a silhouette target. So, I don't know.
But I don't even know. Yeah, it's a tiny, tiny little hole. So why? I'm sorry, man. Why did we get on that though? I think we lost the train of thought.
We're going about the crimes, greatest crimes, or
crimes. Just because, dude, in a Heat, they're just coming out with machine guns. They're Al Pacino. He's the one who's investigating Robert De Niro, and he starts basically deducing where Robert De Niro is going to go next. And Robert De Niro, when he robs this bank, is counting on there being like a 5-minute response time. But Al Pacino's there like 2 minutes early, right? So they're just Tom Sizemore. You know that guy, Tom Sizemore?
Yeah, he just died recently.
Kilmer, De Niro, they're all coming out of the bank. They have their guns and they're like, and they're like, like they're having this big shootout with the cops. And then like Kilmer gets hit. He almost dies. Sizemore just fucking dies. He just gets shot a bunch of fucking times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just kind of like those movies. And then, there's The Godfather, obviously a classic one, right?
Yeah.
There's Casino. There's Goodfellas.
Yep.
What else?
I like Goodfellas up until Joe Pesci dies, and then I didn't like the movie after that. But
also, I don't know if you ever watched Lethal Weapon 3, but that was the one where they brought Joe Pesci in, and he had this boat, and him and Danny Glover go fishing on this. They catch a shark, and he's like, ah.
Yeah, was he in part? He was in a couple of them. I don't know if he was in part
3 and 4. He was in
3 and 4.
Number 4 is where they had Jet Li and Rene Russo come in. Rene Russo was Riggs's love interest, and then the Jet Li, he was like, that was one of his first. Remember, he's like nobody could kick Mel Gibson's ass, but they're like, oh, what about Jet Li? And he's like, trying to fight. But remember, they're like hanging off the back of a car. They're like fucking fighting each other. It was kind of like that, like early 2000s action, like where they had enough CGI where they could show people hanging off of cars or fighting in dangerous situations and stuff.
I know Joe Pesci was Leo Getz. Anything you want, Leo gets.
Yeah, so he was in 2 movies though. He made it pretty good. And Joe Pesci, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what he's doing these days. Really. He also made a ton of money off of. Did you know Home Alone was a massively profitable movie?
Yeah.
Like both of them. Daniel Stern, which was the tall guy that was with Joe Pesci. Dude, that movie, I watched a documentary on Home Alone. That movie spent 37 weeks at number 1.
Wow.
And dude, movies nowadays, it's like you're good if if you're 4 or 5 weeks is number 1, that's like record setting or whatever.
Yeah, that's like almost impossible nowadays too.
So like and then I remember when Titanic came out, it was just out for like a fucking year. And it was really annoying. I just remember being like, oh, I just want to stop hearing about fucking Titanic. I mean, I wouldn't saw it, but it was like, man, like everybody was creaming their pants over that fucking shit.
Yeah, they don't make movies. Well, they don't stay in the theaters that long. Maybe a month if you're lucky.
Yeah, they just don't. Yeah, it's too short of a time span, Yeah. Except for some of the Marvel movies, but there's a Marvel burnout, dude. Have you noticed that? Like Star Wars and Marvel people are just tired of it.
Yeah, well, Star Wars, they need to make some better Star Wars shit. The Mandalorian's okay. Boba Fett kind of sucked, actually. I was shocked.
Boba Fett sucked. Mandalorian, but didn't Pedro Pascal leave Mandalorian? I thought this was his last season.
I don't know. Well, they end it like he has a house now on that one planet, him and little baby Yoda.
Yeah. So what are they going to do? Like, what do you do?
Don't know.
Yeah.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi one sucked. He was kind of wuss. I was like,
what about Peacemaker? I had Peacemaker saved on my HBO Max. Actually, HBO Max, now you have to log into a whole nother thing today. It started today. I went to log into HBO and it was like download. You have to download the thing.
Yeah, I heard something. I haven't got it in there yet. Shit.
It's called Max. You have to download a whole fucking new thing.
Wow. That sucks.
I think you have to re-sign up and everything, dude. Like, I've heard some people.
I had a problem a couple weeks ago because our Fire Stick went haywire, so we had to reboot the Fire Stick factory, restore it. So when I went to put HBO Max on there, I never signed in, and I went to finally watch a movie on it. Fuck, I got to re-sign in. Trying to sign in with my email and everything. It's not working. I call them up. She's like, do you have another email? I was like, I don't use that email for anything anymore. And I said, okay, it's this. And she goes, yeah, that's the one we have. I'm like, really? I said, I've never used that one. But I did sign up for HBO Max back in 2019 or wherever hell it first came out. So maybe I did use that was probably the last year I was using that email. So, yeah, it was a pain in the ass to set that back up. But, oh, well. Yeah, we're talking about crimes. I thought you want to talk about real crimes, not TV stuff.
Well, no, I just wanted to start there because that's what I think about crimes. But, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, let's talk about crimes. Like, when I think about, like, real badass crimes, okay, Zodiac Killer, the guy that shot JFK, it's going to come back to me for a minute.
We don't know his name because Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy.
Yeah, I was going to say Oswald. That's the original guy. or Lincoln's assassination. I guess I'm just thinking.
Either John Ruby killing Lee Harvey Oswald, which really fucked up the whole thing there to believe it's a conspiracy now. That just made it more like, oh, this is a conspiracy.
But then maybe Al Capone, and then maybe the guys that escaped from Alcatraz, like they went into Alcatraz and they escaped from Alcatraz.
And supposedly 2 of them were brothers.
Yeah.
And the sisters or children of those 2 guys said, yeah, they were living in Argentina. They had pictures of them. Supposedly they lived quite a few years.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, the guy jumped out of the plane there. Whatever.
DB Cooper. I watched the Netflix series on him. It's a really crazy story, man. They said he probably had a fake mustache because one of the flight attendants could see him like gluing it on. AKA your fucking fake mustache, DB Cooper over here. And they said that he was acting like he had military training. Like when he jumped out of the plane, like he knew what he was doing. So they're thinking he was like a paratrooper in World War II or had some kind of military training.
All right.
Some kind of covert ops or special ops shit.
But then they find some of the money just scattered about, and not all of it, but some of it scattered about. And
yeah, but they're saying that he might have ripped open a bag when he was parachuting down to throw them off his trail. They were saying this was like special fucking ops guy. To him, this was easy. Dude, like he's just going up against civilians. Dude, he's parachuting into Nazi territory in World War II. This is just some kind of easy ass shit. He just has to fucking, and then if he gets arrested, whatever, he could probably talk his way out of it because he's a veteran or something,
Yeah.
He could just say he's crazy from the war.
Right?
Like, oh, the war drove me crazy. I didn't know what I was doing. And then he might do 5 years or something, but then he's out, right?
This was a Nazi plane.
Yeah. He was like, I was not like he just thought he was defending that, like he had a good out. And so I was just like, fuck. Then in the documentary, they tracked this dude down to Florida because of fucking course, that's just where everybody goes to die is fucking Florida, DB Cooper. And they're like, are you DB Cooper? And he won't answer. And they're like fucking with them. And they do they for 15 minutes, they're doing this stuff. So DB Cooper may still be alive in Florida. We don't know.
I think if I commit some of the biggest crimes, I'm getting like closer to death. Like, say I did it when I was 35 or 45. Yeah. Here I am, 75 or 80 now. I'm just going to come out. Yeah, that was me. Just solve the mystery. Guess what? I solved my own mystery.
Well, that's why I was wondering the other day when we were talking about drinking and thinking, I wanted to do something about aliens because there's all these military generals that are coming out like on their deathbed and saying, not necessarily like we're being invaded by aliens, but like there's evidence we saw these things on those. Have you heard about that stuff that's been released on the Navy cams where they're showing those like.
Hey, there's a lot of stuff. You ever come across a YouTube channel called The Y Files?
No.
I mean, it doesn't prove anything, but he goes over a lot of different conspiracy stuff. I'll just read off a few right here. Everything is secretly encoded in the Bible, even your birth, death, blah, blah, blah.
All right.
Alien probe, sentient machine, nuclear weapon, or junk. What's the Bet's mystery? Alien underground at Dulce, underground base.
Yeah.
Human combustion, of course. Mission to planet Serpol. That's a good one. Amiibo stuff. A whole bunch of crap. I'm like, proof of incarnation, shadow people. What do they want?
Dude, shadow people. That's a classic.
Yeah, it's a good show because they put a lot into it. I guess the guy used to be a radio personality or something. But on his show with him, he has like a fake, computer animated goldfish in a bowl. But he has a tinfoil hat on. The goldfish does. And sometimes he doesn't have it on when they start talking about something like creepy, like lizard people. Where I give him my tinfoil hat. He's like, okay.
So there was a movie from Jordan Peele. It wasn't Get Out, but it was like Us or whatever he did after Us. It was about the shadow people. It's about like people that it was a shadow people movie.
Yeah.
And that shit's kind of crazy, man. The shadow people thing has always messed with me. I remember reading this story because it's an urban legend, or honestly a legend that's been around since the times of Romans. People saw their shadows and they wondered, like, what if that's another realm that these like they kind of mimic us, and it seems like it's like a mirror, but it's different because it's a shadow cast from a light source. I don't know, man. It's people have just people are dumb, primitive people, but
I got two hands of shadows over here because this light on the ceiling has 4 lights on it. I see.
So you got 4 shadow people. You're really fucked now.
One light's pointing that way, so it's only picking up 2 of the lights somehow. But I'm sure the 4 is there, but the other 2 are the other 2 lights are brighter, so it's only picking up 2 of the shadow people.
So I don't want to get back on childhood stuff because I think we shifted gears. But the reason I wanted to bring it up in the first place is I like that sense of magic you had when you were a kid, right? Where there was an unknown. Like now we've seen behind the curtain and we know it's all bullshit. And we know we're just going to be fucking around with stupid politics and horse shit and fucking inflation and shit till we die.
Right, and that's why I brought up that Y-Files channel, because they actually bring up a little bit of that mystery. You know, some of those things they talk about I never heard of on there before, like the backroom conspiracy, where there's like another dimension or whatever. It's like you go through here and it's an empty house. There's nobody else around. It's just you. It's like an alternate backroom dimension.
Yeah.
It's like the same shit, but it's empty. Nobody's there.
Yeah, I think there's I've heard of stuff.
You talk about with that, the creepy stuff, like you go into an abandoned mall or some pool where there's no other people in an old ass pool. It just seems like creepy and like a different world type.
Yeah.
The backroom conspiracy, not the back door.
But I guess, do we have any more thoughts on crime? I like where we were going, but I don't.
Yeah, I like crime. Some of the big, like the DB Cooper one is a big one.
So what's another big crime? If I think big crimes, I'm honestly thinking like Watergate, like political crimes. Like that was a big crime, right?
Yeah,
and the Bernie Madoff thing when he ripped off all those fucking motherfuckers, that was a huge crime, right?
Oh yeah.
So Bernie Madoff, like that was he's like one of the most. I watched. They have this thing called The Wizard of Lies on HBO. If you ever like managed to figure out how to log back into the HBO thing, it's called Wizard of Lies. It's Sharon Stone and Robert De Niro, and they portray the life of Bernie Madoff.
Huh.
It came out in like 2017 or something like that, but it's very interesting. It is very much a crime thing. Like, dude, Bernie Madoff was like the whole time he was like on the edge of his seat. Like, dude, the guy had some balls. He was like, "Oh yeah, I made you $9 million," and then somebody else he takes in money. Classic Ponzi scheme. You know, he's telling everybody, and they keep investing more and more. And he got to a point where he came out, dude. Nobody discovered him. Did you know Bernie Madoff just got tired of the lying, and he just came out and told everybody?
No, I did not know that. I know the name. I don't know the whole story of Bernie Madoff. I heard the name before though.
So he was running the biggest Ponzi scheme ever. Ponzi schemes where you take money from somebody and you promise them this big return, but in order to give them that big return, you got to take money from somebody else.
But he got caught though.
No, he turned himself in. I mean, he got caught, but he turned himself in.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like the bigger crimes are unsolved, and
So I mean, Bernie Madoff turned himself in because the stress was too much, dude. He was just waiting every day for his phone to ring and his lawyer saying they found you out. And he just said, like, I'm just tired of running. And, like, everybody was surprised. Nobody was investigating, dude. Nobody knew. He probably could have just hightailed it out to fucking even space. He probably could have flown out into space or got a private island or something. Like, he probably could have fled. Nobody was onto him. But he just said, I'm tired of this. And it shocked, like, the world. He was like, I've been stealing all this money. He's like, it's all a sham.
Well, you look at Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, when he ran that Medicaid
scam,
yeah, and he didn't go to jail or anything about it, and he becomes governor of Florida, and becomes governor of Florida. We used to do a drug test. I don't know where they bought this shit from, but it was like a personal one for employees, the mouth swab. Well, after he becomes governor, they get rid of that. That's costing the state too much money. Get rid of it. We didn't have a drug test for a whole year. So if you're a correctional officer, which I knew one person, he was smoking pot all the time. Then after about a year, they find, okay, we're going to start doing drug tests. We got to go to LabCorp now to do it. We couldn't stay there. We couldn't do it while we're at the job site. We got to leave. And, of course, night shift, we got to leave in the morning and kind of work over.
You can go get fake piss, right? You can go get a fake piss thing and use it.
I don't know if it's fake or not, but, yeah, I mean, they piss you. And but come to find out, supposedly, Rick Scott's wife's family owns LabCorp. So there you go. You know, that's what government's all about, is making money, getting their business. They get in there, get their businesses, contracts, all their friends, their families.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Next governor comes in there, switches it to their family. Like Jeb Bush, when he was the governor of Florida, we had these body alarms. They still use them too for correctional officers.
Yeah.
They connect to and staff. They connect to your belt. And his wife's family made those things. Jeb Bush's wife's family made those things.
Yeah, it's always fucked up like that.
Yeah, and I'm sure the same thing at the federal level too, all the way up to the top. All those congressmen and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, presidents. Our current president, don't even know where the hell he's at. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No. It's supposed to be improv, so I want to dip back one more time in childhood and say, what was the junk food that you most look forward to in childhood? I don't care if it's like you got Cheetos or your parents let you go get some candy bars. Like, what's the thing you look forward to having? Like, you just were like, you know, really satisfied as a kid where you're like, I got cheese puffs or I got whatever.
I would say candy bars because they weren't expensive back then. I mean, you can probably get them anytime, but oh shit, what was it? Candy bar? I remember when a candy bar was like 25 cents, I think.
Yeah. But they weren't everywhere. As a kid, you just didn't have access. You had to ask your parents for it. It was like, you know, that's probably why you didn't get diabetes or grow up really fat. Because your parents were like, you just got one every month or whatever, you know.
Shit, my mother didn't let me drink 4 or 5 sodas a day and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I drink soda every day, but I usually have about 1 a day. Sometimes my days off, I might have 2, you know.
Yeah.
Depending on what I'm eating, because I'm like, oh, I gotta have soda with this. I can't eat pizza without stuff. Yeah. But candy bars, ice cream. Going to not ice cream because we got ice cream all the time, but going to an ice cream place, getting ice cream.
It's a treat. Yeah. It's a treat.
We go to one called Donkey Cone.
Donkey Cone. That sounds nice.
Donkey Cone. Yeah. And that was before Donkey Kong came out. It was called Donkey Cone. So it's kind of fun. Game came out.
One thing you missed out on, dude, is I think Golden Corral. I think you were too old when that really came in the 90s. Did you ever go to Golden Corral?
Yeah, I bet to Golden Corral, yeah.
But not as a kid, though, right? Because you were
not as a kid. I've been to Sizzler and shit like that. Ponderosa.
Sizzler I saw Sizzler on its way out. I watched a documentary on Sizzler. Like 1989 was like their last year in business. They were like, you know.
Yeah.
I never remembered it, but my mom told me that Sizzler was like really good value in like the 80s.
A lot of people use it in humor. We're going to Sizzler.
Yeah.
It was like some people using their comedy like Eddie Murphy or somebody like that back then.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember the Sizzler stuff, people making fun of it. Like I remember people making fun of Zima, the drink, you know, this drink Zima, but I wasn't drinking alcohol back when I was 9, so I didn't get it.
And the thing that reminds me of Zima is there's this one lady I went out with one time back in 99, 2000 time frame. She was supermodel hot, blonde. But she was probably, I was like 28. She was 50, 56 or 57. Now, I thought maybe she was late 40s. And she said she was like 45 on her. I met her online, 45 on her profile. I went out with her. Then while we're out, she said, I'm really 57. I was like, I don't care, baby.
I don't care, baby.
She was hot, but that was her drink was Zima. And,
damn.
But she was hot, and I tried to get some of that night, but she's like, oh, you know, I just want to be friends. I'm like, okay.
Well, earlier when I was drinking this healthy lemon lime with the Chihuahuitan rum, it did taste like kind of Zima-like. I mean, it was like it was like a classy like microbrew Zima.
Oh yeah, I didn't like Zimas. It had a weird taste to it, but anyhow.
Yeah.
But she did away with me. Then like a couple years later, I'm living with my new girlfriend. You know, we dated for like 2 years. We moved into each other. This girl tracks me down. I still had an AOL Messenger. I never used it, but this is like 2003. She finds me. I just happened to pull up my old AOL Instant Messenger, and she finds all of a sudden she messages me on there. Wants to go out. She goes, "You're a really nice guy. I want to know if you'd like to go out again." And I was like, "Oh, I got a girlfriend now. I'm living with her." I'm like, Jesus, just my luck, huh? Of course, by that time she was had to be 60.
What about this? Didn't you say recently that you were going to meet some girl at a hotel? Did you have some hot date recently?
No, not meet her at a hotel. No, I went to Columbia. I met her at a restaurant, but I decided to get a hotel to stay over the night there because I was gonna.
Yeah. Okay.
about an hour and a half drive, so I figure I'll stay there and drive back. I went
What
shopping.
what about some local women, man? You've been on the dating apps. You've been out there like.
No, I dated one girl about 3 times. She was a really nice girl, but yeah, I just decide, I think when you get my age, you want something exactly what you want, or you're like, you don't want to be putting up with bullshit that you put up with before or whatever, whether it's animals or kids or whatever it might be. You want simple and easy.
True, but let me ask you. I'm going to ask you a hard question. We're doing drinking and thinking improv, and now I'm like just asking you hard questions, Shagdog.
Okay.
Do women in their late 40s and early 50s, do they still want to get down? Do you find women in that age that want to get funky in the bedroom still? Is there like or are they just, is everybody just kind of shutting that down at that age? Do you are you having to go younger? Do you have to kind of like bounce back?
My ex, well, God, she was even younger. 39, that was probably me though.
Yeah.
She was 39. She was wild when we met. 38, 39. I was 41. 42, 41.
I'm talking like 47, 48, 50.
Later on, let's see, when we broke up, that was 2000.
I've heard of women in that age category, and I've heard they're lusty, and they're like, they'll.
Yeah, some of them are, yeah. I mean, I haven't had too many women in their 50s, but yeah, a couple, over the years.
Like Tina Turner, or not Tina Turner. Who's the woman from The Graduate? Damn it. Like that movie, The Graduate, Dustin Hoffman, he fucks that old chick, and that's like a movie.
Oh, yeah. Mrs. Robinson?
Yeah, he fucks Mrs. Robinson. It was played by who? It was
in The Graduate.
Catherine Ross.
According to Wikipedia. Film tells the story of 21-year-old Benjamin Braddock and married woman, Mrs. Robinson, Anne Bancroft.
Seduced by an older married woman,
Okay.
Mrs. Robinson, but then falls for her daughter Elaine, Catherine Ross.
So, but he is like kind of like a virgin guy. He's banging this lusty older woman.
Yeah. The older woman is Anne Bancroft. The daughter is played by Catherine Ross.
Okay.
Anne Bancroft. I remember that.
And then, that's got to be tough. Like, you want to date a woman your age, but the older woman's probably like,
if you're younger, the older woman
sucking his balls. She's like, whoa, holy shit! Like, he's like, what are you doing? I never heard that. This is like the 70s. Whoa!
Yeah, they get a little wild. If you're younger and you get with an older woman, they get a little wild. They want to put on a show for you, really young.
Yeah, they're like wear lingerie and then they're giving you like crazy blowjobs. Like, you're like,
right. But once you get with them, not all of them, but a lot of them, you get with them, and then probably after a few months or a year, they probably, most women want
looking for the next young cock, and I get it because you know what? Like, let's face it, dude. There's a steep drop off. I say once you hit like 37, there's kind of a steep boner drop off, and it's not like you can't get the bones, right? It's more like you don't care as much.
Yeah,
right?
I've known a lot of girls in their 40s, and they're freaky, but they want to get with younger guys, like
because they want
20s or early 30s.
Yeah, somebody who's just like, because let's face it, dude. When you're older, you won't put up with a bunch of bullshit for sex. You're just kind of like, you're looking for someone you can talk to or hang out with, and sex is an added bonus. But you're not exclusively just hunting for the booty.
The thing about those older women, they get even though they're getting with younger guys, it's just for sex at the beginning, but they get attached, and then they're the same thing. They get jealous and
I'm sorry. It was just like
it backfires on some of them.
Yeah.
I knew one girl who was getting with a younger guy, and then she'd expected that, like, she was I don't know if she bought him beer or not a lot or whatever, but then all of a sudden she'd go out and she'd see him with another woman.
Yeah.
So then she's getting all upset, and then she's like telling me, "Why we just have sex every once in a while?" I said, "Why are you getting upset?" He's with another girl then,
No, you're telling my story. When I was 20 in college, I was dating a 26-year-old because she could buy me beer. I was 1 year away from being able to buy beer. And nobody thought it was like immoral to get like a 20-year-old. Come on, you're basically there.
Yeah.
You're not even a teenager. You're fucking 20. 20 is that fucking bastardized year.
Yeah, that is a bastardized year.
Yeah. You're just like, dude, I'm fucking 20. I'm in my 20s. Let me just fucking buy a goddamn Bud Light, you fucking fascist pig fucks.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was dating this woman, and it was just like, I think we both had different versions of like what our relationship was. Like she was really in love with me, and I was always like, "Fuck, what did I do?" But then I still needed beer every Friday, so I was like, hey. So I was an immoral fuck who should probably be punched in the fucking nads.
I did this one lady when me and my one girlfriend broke up. I had a little spat for a while. We broke up. So there's these two older women that used to go to karaoke bar. Me and Jammer went to all the time. I was like, Jammer, I'm gonna go up to those women and ask them if they want to have a threesome with me. And he's like, I dare you to, or whatever. Yeah, I'll do it. I get up over there to their table, and I actually wanted the one because I thought she had maybe a little bit better body.
Yeah.
But I asked them, and she didn't want nothing to do with me. But the other one did. She was like, oh. Yeah. So anyhow, I ended up going out with this lady a couple times, but she is a big drunk. I always get the drunks or the fat women.
Oh, yeah. She
was an alcoholic. She came over to my house one time. I was living with my parents at that time. That's back like a couple of years after I got out of the Army. I was still with my parents. I was like 28, something like that. Well, she the one night I didn't go out. I got off work. I was like, I'm not going out. I got off work late, going to go to bed. Well, she's calling me. I had a home phone at that time. It was like 2000, I think. 2000? Somewhere around there. 1999, 2000. She's calling me. She goes, hey, I'm going to come over. She uses the payphone from the bar. I said, my parents are asleep. She goes, I'll be quiet. I'm like, okay. She's 44, this one. I'm like 28. Oh, she told me it's 44. My girlfriend later tells me she wasn't 44. She is 50, but I don't know. Yeah. She comes over. She pulls her truck in my driveway all cockeyed, and she's all hammered. And I'm like, holy shit. I banged her. I sent her on the road. I said, here, you got to go. I walked her out to her truck and told her, all right. I had to turn her truck around for her. And then she left. I'm like, God, I wonder if she's going to make it home. But and I banged her a couple more times, went over to her house. I actually worked with her son.
Oh.
Her son was like, I worked at a call center. Her son was like about 19 or 20. And I was about 28.
So every time you saw him in your mind, you're like, I plowed your mom?
Yeah, well, yeah. I didn't know it was her son until he came home one night. I'm sitting there with her watching movies.
Oh.
But, yeah.
That's even worse. He's like, oh, Shagdog, I saw you at work today. Hope it was a good shift, but what are you doing with my mom? And you're like, son, I gotta tell you some stuff. I've been plowing your fucking mom from behind every night. Like, poor kid, man. Fucking poor kid.
But then I broke up with her for something. I stopped seeing her, and then I went back to my old girlfriend. And I never lived that. You never live stuff down, though. You probably should just get rid of your girlfriend if you have to put up with stuff, her bring up the past all the time. You have to say, hello, we're done.
I have a great girlfriend, so I don't have to worry about that. But one thing I do worry about, Shagdog, and this is the next topic I want to bring up because it's improv, is like an impending assault and how to protect yourself. Did you ever have a tree house or a childhood fort, a blanket fort, an outside fort, a tree house? Did you ever just like set up a fortress and like set up defenses and be like, fuck yeah, bring it on, ghosts? Like it's ghosts, monsters, older brothers.
Had a real good tree house. It was one of those trees where it had like, about maybe 7 or 8, 10 feet high. The tree split off. So we had the guy, one kid in the neighborhood, his father built it like right in that section there.
In that nook, right? It's like a little Y beam. Yeah, it's so like a
ladder went up to it, and it was a pretty nice treehouse. I actually got some really good stories for you about that, but I can't say that stuff on here.
All right.
But I'll tell you off camera about some stories about the treehouse. It's actually funny stuff, but I don't want to incriminate nobody.
All right, let's move past treehouses. Did you ever just go under your blanket with a flashlight to read a scary book, or like be scared of ghosts in your house, or build a fort? Like build a pillow fort, blanket fort, whatever. When you were
when I was an adult, I got scared and went under the blankets.
Me too. I just thought I would start with like when we're younger.
We get scared. That type of scare, like you hear something, or you think somebody's in the room with you. You get under the blankets, or whatever. You're thinking of Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something. I don't know. But one time when I was an adult, I think I told you this before. Is I had the what the hell you call that person? I had the. Everybody said they see a shadow figure, I think, when they have
shadow people or whatever.
Paralysis. sleep paralysis.
Yeah, when you can't move, you see it, but you can't move. And you're all fucking.
They say you're in between consciousness and unconsciousness. Is like you're not sleeping, but you're not fully awake. I don't know, but I sleep on my stomach usually, and I was like feeling like something was pressing me down my whole body.
Damn.
Felt like I had pressure on my whole body, like pushed me down. I couldn't move. And there's a wall there and a little window, a stained glass window goes to the little office by the bedroom. And my girlfriend, before I went to bed, I knew she was in there playing a game on a computer. But somehow through this wall, I could see her. Oh. And I'm trying to call for her to help me, but she can't hear me or whatever. Damn. And then I started saying, Jesus, in my mind, I guess, Jesus, help me.
Yeah, Jesus, help me.
Jesus, help me. All of a sudden, I was able to move. But I didn't see no shadow figure or anything. But I was so scared, I actually pulled. This is when I was like, I don't know, 33, 34 years old. I pulled the, and I think I was still not fully conscious. I think I was still in dreamland. Pulled the sheets over me. I'm scared. It was weird as hell. I don't know how to explain it. But Jesus helped me. And supposedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw one video where they said a study that they did, people get abducted by aliens are all atheists or agnostic. Not one Christian has been abducted.
Huh.
I don't know if that's true or not, but by aliens.
That would mean one of two things. One would be those people that got abducted actually had a religious experience, but they didn't call it angels or Jesus, right? Because they don't believe in that. So maybe I
never heard about Jesus probing anybody though.
Well, let's put the probing thing aside for a minute and just say that, like, maybe some people who follow Christian religion, sometimes they do have a moment of like spiritual clarity where they feel like they're communing with the spirit or the Lord or whatever. And let's say that agnostic or atheist people, if they had that same experience, it may feel like, whoa, what's going on? Like they're more disoriented because they don't believe in that, right? Like, and then they have to like come up with some kind of like, oh, I was abducted by alien, like I'm trying to figure out like how it could naturally happen, right?
Right.
Is there a way it could naturally happen like that? Like maybe agnostic atheist people are more, and by the way, I'm probably in that category, although like I think I'm a little more religious than your average agnostic person, but I'm not super religious. It's hard. I'm walking like a really fine line.
Isn't that what agnostic is? Like you don't believe, but you never know. There might be, or something like that.
No, like, so I've been baptized. I've accepted Jesus into my heart, and I've read the Bible. But on a daily basis, I'm not really like worshiping and like doing like what you should be doing if you're a religious person.
Oh, well, you're a Christian then.
Yeah, that's like a regular, but like I see the hypocrisy in that. Like I should, if I really am a believer, I should be doing a lot more. And I do volunteer a lot. I've been working on doing charity stuff more, things like that. So I don't know. So, but I think if somebody is like hit with a sudden, like if I saw like angels or heavenly beings land, maybe I'm a little more accepting. I wouldn't like necessarily go crazy and start shooting everybody, like, because I'd be like, oh, maybe this is something from God. Versus somebody else, maybe they're like, if you're totally agnostic and you see things start landing or whatever, you're thinking alien invasion, you're thinking whatever, you're freaking out. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're like, okay, yeah, that's a good. I'm just wondering if you had. You're like, I don't have any thoughts. No thoughts. That's why this is improv, Shagdog. You're ruining the improv.
Lizard people.
We're losing our whole audience. We just lost every viewer.
Oh, we haven't had any viewers yet.
We just lost.
Although I had the last couple of weeks, I haven't had any of those people on that have been watching our live videos.
I've been watching this stuff. You just gotta keep going, dude. Like,
Yeah, my channel. I mean, we're still at 77 subscribers, so we haven't gained or lost any. But
yeah, it's like you lost anything. That's good, man. It's slim pickings out there right now, dude. Because you know what? Like, so many bots and like fake things are doing channels. It's getting all overcrowded. Like, there's so many choices. It's hard to find anybody.
I did the survey today on YouTube where they actually, do you think your channel makes enough money and all that? I was like, oh no. I was like, I said, what do you think would be better? The best way for you to make money? Lower the subscription thing from 1,000 to 1. you can't be monetized unless you have 1,000 subscribers. So.
No, I know because I helped a friend monetize his channel. It was really hard.
Yeah.
So,
it was easier back in the day, I think.
Yeah, it was easier. Yeah.
I don't know how many Google pennies Jammer got. He might have been lying. He's like, well, I bought the banner and I bought the business cards, and he probably made a couple $1,000 for all I know, right?
So I had the perfect next mini topic, Shagdog, AI. So AI, did you know that recently AI in 1 month wrote like 3,000 books that went up to Amazon? So like all these people are using Chat GPT to write books and just put them up like they're like, and they're shitty books, but like if you flood the zone with shit, quote unquote, like right, you're putting as much stuff out and you're hoping people will buy it. Like, and it's stuff like 10 ways to quit smoking, 10 ways to improve your relationship. And it's just like books like that, that they're just like auto-generating covers, auto-generating text. They're just spamming it out there, trying to get money.
And it floods this thing so you don't find the good real stuff.
You can't find the good real stuff. Yeah, it's flooding the zone with shit. That's what they call it.
Yeah. I even saw a guy did a video the other day. He said how to make money. I guess you can write your own books on Amazon and sell it on Amazon, but he told you how to do a book. You can still do it on Amazon, but you make 100 pages or whatever, journal. So you don't have to write it. You have blank pages, make the cover a journal, sell it on Amazon. So now people
but now you don't even need to just make a blank journal. AI can write you a book in 5 seconds.
Right.
And then
AI could probably
in there.
Write you different, whatever. Yeah, that's crazy.
You even say, write me a romance novel about 2 trans donkeys, and it would just crank it out like in a fucking
trans donkeys.
Like, sorry.
Hee-haw.
You have to cut that out, buddy.
What's your pronoun? Hee-haw. Hee-haw.
Hee-haw. Yeah. You're gonna have to cut that out, buddy. Sorry. Again.
We'll leave that in there. Hey, what's Michael Jackson?
You're gonna leave that in. Just
Michael
give it
Jackson.
no nonsense. All of a sudden, I'm like out of nowhere. I'm like, all right, yeah, we're talking about and then like you're like, all right, what's wrong?
Hey,
what's wrong, JammerFan?
You know what Michael Jackson's pronouns were?
Oh God, I don't want to know. I don't think.
Hee-hee.
That's a fucking great Michael Jackson joke, dude. That's one of the best ones I've heard in a while.
The guy I worked, I'll give props to the guy I worked with. Made that up. Yeah.
So honestly, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. When I was growing up, dude, I loved all his albums. I loved all his stuff, dude. I was like growing up. It was before you knew about any of this stuff, right? Like when you're just a kid, like I didn't know he was going to grow up to be fucking all weird and stupid and fucking everybody hate him and he would just die of fucking drugs. I didn't know that. Like my parents probably wouldn't let me listen to him.
The whole thing about him and his skin thing that he supposedly had, you didn't see that on him when he was a little kid, like any patches or anything.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be white.
It was weird though, right? Like Michael Jackson, I think it was trauma. Don't you think he was just so traumatized he was like fucking acting it out or something?
Probably by his father getting beat. Who knows if any of his brothers abused him?
His father. Did you ever see those documentaries where his father would beat all the kids, including Michael?
Yeah. How do
and
you
they'd
know?
Be like, you have to. They'd be like, you have to go perform. You have to do this and that, and they would get their asses fucking beat, dude.
He could have been abused by the older brothers too, for all we know, right?
Probably, yeah. Shit goes downhill, dude. Right?
Like, he's like the 12-year-old getting all the attention, and here I am, 18.
Now they're beating his ass. Yeah. I mean,
start calling him homo. You want to be a little homo white boy, right? And that's why he started turning white.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. But we also got to acknowledge, Shagdog, that me and you, again, I feel old at 41. You're like 67 or what? I'm just kidding. I know you're like 49. 49. We'll just call it 49. We got our asses kicked when we were kids, whether it was by kids on the playground or our parents. Like, you just got your, like, I don't know, dude. I think I got my ass kicked at least really bad 3 or 4 times growing up. Like, not to where I didn't get teeth knocked out. I wasn't whatever, but it was like I took on a bully that was too strong, or like I got ambushed by some kid. You just got your ass kicked as a kid, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, you got a lot of fights back then too. Nobody
got a lot of fights, and nobody called the cops. Your parents didn't have to pay some lawsuit settlement. It was just like boys will be boys. You just fucking got in fights.
Yeah, you back then, especially being a little kid, you fight off school grounds. Shit, I even had fights on school grounds sometimes.
Yeah. I had both. I had one that was on the bus, And as the bus driver like stopped and opened the door for the school, we were fighting on the way out and like tumbled onto the fucking pavement and shit. Like I've been in some fucking fights, man, but like luckily it was never like resulting in like criminal charges for anybody.
Right. My number one nemesis was Robbie Lutkowski. I moved around town, went to a couple different grade schools, and we moved to this one part of town and went to school there. And when I first met him, before I started going to school there, we moved to that area. And then our cousin, who lived in that part of town, hung out with me and my two brothers, went to a park. But we're going to start this new school this week or whatever. Yeah. I think we moved there before school started, actually, what it was.
All right.
Like still the end of summer. So our cousin took us to this park, and here's this Rob Lutkowski kid and some other kid. And my cousin's like, oh, that's Rob Lutkowski. He's a bully or something like that. My cousin's about a year younger than him. So 4th grade, So anyhow, got to 4th grade. Never had a problem with him. So like, I don't know, a couple months into school, one day he just grabs me around the neck, starts like trying to choke me, or I don't know what the hell he's doing. But we end up getting a fight. It's outside during recess. I'm fighting him out and start whooping his ass.
Yeah.
And then the teacher grabs both of us and then takes us to the gymnasium.
He
one corner.
Yeah.
On the other far side of the corner of the gymnasium. I remember this kid, Mikey Jones, came walking through and he's like, what happened? Asking him. We got to fight. Oh, who won? And he's like, he did.
The other kid always say they won.
No, he said I did. He said he did.
Yeah.
And then I got to fight with him so many times, though, because one time he's beat up my two cousins at baseball practice. I had to jump in, save them, beat his ass. Another time, out my front of my house, my younger brother was out there. He started like fucking with my younger brother, started hitting him or whatever. I had to go out there and fight him again. It was like 3 or 4 times like that. But then the last time I fought him, he was talking crap to me. It was like 8th grade. And that was the first time he got his best shot at me because he had like big bony hands or something.
Big bony hands.
He took a punch at me, and he got me on top of the head. Luckily, it wasn't
Did you get the lumps?
It was like right on the top of the head because I tucked my head down when he punched at me. I mean, which is good. It didn't get me in the face. But yeah, I had a big bump there, and that shit hurt like hell. And I was like, man, that's the last time. Well, that's the last time I picked a fight, That's the last time I actually picked a fight on my own, I should say.
So I got to tell you something funny, man. So growing up, I watched this movie called Far and Away with Tom Cruise. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
He's like Irish and he's that boxer and he comes to America and stuff. Right. And there's a guy he's fighting and the guy he's punching and Tom Cruise ducks his head and just absorbs them all in his forehead, right? And the guy like fucks up his hands and then Tom Cruise kicks his ass. Well, I tried that in a fight and it kind of worked. But the next day I had lumps like crazy. I had like 9 fucking weird lumps all over my fucking head. Yeah. But I did win the fight. This kid came in with a barrage and I just ducked I went like this. I just ducked my head. I just took them all on my fucking forehead, dude. Like all of them.
I think that's a boxing move too. When you're boxing, you tuck your chin in so you're not taking
your brow and your forehead are the most armored areas on your face. So I just took all the shots. And then, dude, I hit him with 3 hooks and a fucking uppercut, and I took the guy down. It was the best fight of my life. I took the guy out, and I was just like, yeah. But the next day, dude, I remember I ended up not going to school because I had lumps all over. Like it looked like I got
After that, I didn't get in too many fights with people besides my brothers. We get in fist fights all the time. Me and my 2 brothers growing up, but after that, I never
fight. So that fight, dude, it was one of those ones where every kid goes to the fight. Like it's like I'm gonna fight you after school. And
3 o'clock.
Yeah, no, 3 o'clock high. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
This kid tried to 3 o'clock high me, dude. But dude, I was always, you can tell I'm a fat kid, dude. I was drinking beer in fucking 3rd grade, and this motherfucker's like 3 o'clock high. I was like, all right, cool. And he was like, what? You're happy about it? I'm like, yeah, I'm setting my fucking watch 3 o'clock high, motherfucker. And like I was ready to fight him. I was do you remember that band Godsmack?
Oh yeah.
And do you remember like when people used to work out, they would take creatine? Remember when creatine was really big?
Yeah.
My buddy's like, hey, I stole this creatine shake from my dad. And I also stole his Godsmack CD. So I remember like drinking creatine and I was like, I was like, yeah. And my buddy's like, you're going to kick this dude's ass. And I was like, I'm going to fuck him up. I was listening to like Godsmack. And this kid comes out expecting me to be all like fucking super scared. And he throws these punches, and I just go like this, dude. Just Robert De Niro and fucking like Raging Bull. I'm just like, I'm protecting myself. I'm getting hammered, dude. The guy probably hits me 14 times in the fucking forehead. And then I just come out, dude, and I'm just like, boom. I just fucking just combo him, dude, and he's down. He's done,
That's good. Hey, hyped yourself up, too.
And it was on my friend Blake's porch. And to this day, because the kid got a bloody nose, so all my punches almost landed on his nose. I just battered his nose. And that'll take somebody out pretty quick, dude, when they just start bleeding everywhere and shit. Yeah. And to this day, his aunt and uncle still have blood in the concrete. Because if you have blood, I don't know if you've ever heard of getting blood in concrete, but it's porous. You have to basically shave the concrete and put another layer on it or something to get it out.
Huh. The stains.
So still, to this day, his aunt and uncle still have blood on their porch from that fight.
Wow.
Immortalized for all time. Not my blood. This motherfucker's blood from and he was like, oh, this dude's not going to show up. And guess what? There was a huge ring of 100 people around us. 99 people were cheering from him, and only one guy was cheering for me.
That's good.
And I won, but those people were really mad. So as a side story, they ended up following to my house and trying to they tried to invade my house. They came in, they pushed the door open, and all these people were flooding into my house. And I fucking just basically we had one of these little turkey carver knives that were those electric knives. And I was I'll fuck y'all up. And I had my cell phone because it was right when cell phone started. I was like, I'm going to call the cops. But in the meantime, I'm going to fucking stab y'all. I was fucking swinging this turkey knife around. It was crazy, dude. Because they weren't happy to see their hero get fucking pummeled,
No, that happens.
So, but you were tougher than me, dude. Your generation's way tougher. That's a pussy ass story compared to what you got, man. Your parents probably
fed you. I didn't get any fights from 8th grade by myself, besides between my two brothers, either 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 or whatever, up until actually. That was the last actual fight I got in besides between my brothers, I think. I mean, I almost got in fights, but either it's my
I'm normally pretty diplomatic. I don't like getting in fights, but just
mostly we're pushing matches or whatever. Nothing happened.
Sure, and I was always like that as well. I didn't want to get in a fight, but at the same time, there's a certain point where you can't be a pussy about something, right? You got somebody's pushing you, and they're like, if somebody walked up to me on the street today and they started poking me in the head, and they're like, "What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?" I probably would fucking grab their finger and break it and kick their ass.
Right, or use a weapon on them.
Or whatever. I'm going to defend myself. I'm not just going to sit around, take abuse.
Yeah, I like to get some weapons. I like to get a taser. There's these flashlights with a taser on the end. I like to get one of those. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and you know what, dude? I had a lot of gun training growing up, but I feel like if you have a bunch of guns around, it's too easy to use them too. You know what I mean? Yeah. You get yourself in trouble easily. Look at all the people that try to do the stand your ground thing, but they go beyond that and chase somebody out their house and shoot them down the street.
Or in this shitty world we're living in, let's say you just have a night you're down on yourself or whatever. It's not necessarily good to just have a gun there if you're fucking depressed. I mean. Honestly, that's the number one.
Actually, that's the best thing. If
I guess depending on.
Just do it right there and do yourself. Don't go out and kill a bunch of people.
Sure. I'm just saying that's still bad, though. We don't want people to kill themselves.
Well, I'd rather someone just kill themselves than to go out in public and kill a bunch of people, then kill themselves. Just do yourself,
Sure, but hopefully that person wouldn't do any of that, and they would just be okay.
Yeah.
You're just like, nope.
But the ones that want to do that, plan on it or whatever, going to kill a bunch of people, just save yourself.
That, dude, some people have mental illness, and I'm not talking about mass shootings. I'm just saying that, so 33% of all gun deaths are suicides, meaning there's a pretty big problem of gun owners.
Yeah, that's pretty high, really. 33%? Wow.
Yes. It's the number one.
I thought 33% would be black on black crime.
So guess what? When it comes to suicide too, guns are tied with the three main things are guns, jumping off of high places, which you have to be in an area like New York, or did you know in Japan and China they have these suicide nets on all the buildings because people are always trying to jump off of them so much?
Oh, really? Wow.
They have nets to catch all the people jumping off the buildings all the time trying to commit suicide.
You sure it's not Spider-Man?
I'm sure it's not Spider-Man. Part of the thing, dude, is that, believe it or not, it's kind of hard to kill yourself in modern society. You used to be able to, like, if you were back in the Old West, dude, you could go get cyanide or you could get some kind of crazy shit you could just eat that you would die. Or you'd probably just die from exposure because there's a fucking Old West. You're going to die pretty soon anyway.
Yeah.
You know? So, but it's always a classic thing, dude. It's a Wonderful Life. Jimmy Stewart, right? He's about to jump off the bridge. You jump off of something high, almost guaranteed you're going to go.
But he still jumps off the bridge and doesn't die.
Well, it's fucking magic. All right. I'm talking about, like, all right, you got some magic there. But I'm just saying that these are the most popular ways that people do it. Guns are actually, they're only ranked number 3. You have a better chance hanging yourself, honestly, than with a gun. Because a lot of times you're just going to blow half your face off. Have you heard of that? Somebody missed it, kind of like you go like this, you're like, and then you aim it too far here and you just blow, the fucking side of your head off, and then you're all fucked up.
All right, then no one's going to help you finish the job.
No, then you have to like fucking slowly die over 2 years or something, All
right.
But it's still like pretty accurate. Now, killing yourself by hanging, people think, oh, that's really easy. But if you use too thick of a rope, you'll sit there and suffocate really long time. But guess what happens if the rope's too thin? It fucking cuts your head off and decapitates you. But I guess that doesn't really feel good. It's what you want to do is you want to like hang at the perfect length so that you just pass out immediately. Like, when you get somebody in a sleeper hold.
Chokehold, yeah.
Yeah, it just chokehold. It's basically a combination of a chokehold and then boom, your neck breaks. So you fall asleep and then you're out of there.
Yeah.
And actually in the Old West, they used to have codexes and books to like, they had measurement tables where if you weighed X amount, it was this rope. Because back then, believe it or not, they didn't want to see somebody fucking struggle and die. They just wanted, if you're going to hang somebody, they wanted it clean. Nobody wants to hang around and watch somebody shit their pants and fucking cough and barf everywhere.
Really? I
do. Well, all that happens. You shit your pants, you barf, your eyes bulge out, especially in a bad hanging. So,
yeah, head pops off.
Head pops off. Yeah, if it's a really thin rope, it's just boom, head just pops right off there.
Yeah, because you see the movies where they got like a hood over their head and their tied legs are tied, their hands are tied behind their back, and they're like,
yeah. It would suck. I mean, it would suck. And
I'd rather see their eyes while they're doing that.
Yeah. Damn, you're a dark motherfucker, Shagdog. I like it. I fucking like it, man. I like your darkness, Shagdog. You got to channel that, man.
My best friend from high school hung himself. I don't know how or whatever. Like that was 2021, October 2021. 2 weeks after his 50th birthday, he just retired. A couple months before that, working for the state. He's retired. Last time I talked to him, he was building a pool. 2 weeks after his birthday, then one of my other friends who used to work with him, place he retired from, heard from another coworker, and also I get a text message. Hey, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I just heard Kevin took his own life, is how he put it.
Yeah,
Kevin took his own life. Or he said Dieter, his last name. I was like, what? I said, this is a sick joke. I was like, what? And I was like, seriously? And he said, yeah. A friend found him in the basement or something like that. I was like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? So shit happens.
Well, Shagdog, I have a feeling that me and you are the kind of guys that are going to stay around to the very end. It's probably going to suck because we're going to be like eating cat food and like firing off rounds behind burnt out cars. Like we're going to be fighting off the cannibal hordes.
I hope I'm not eating cat food.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not eating. You're going to eat, dude. Shagdog, if you're starving, you're going to eat cat food. You're going to love.
Yeah.
You're gonna see, it's the trio seafood medley. Yum, yum.
Yeah, it's a seafood medley. Yep.
Yeah, that seafood medley. You're gonna be loving that shit when you just got done eating some guy's face, and then you're like, oh fuck, seafood medley sounds really good. I just ate a guy's eyeball.
Yeah, almost. Oh shit.
Sorry, man. So I think we should do another drinking. I think we should maybe end this one because it's like already like an hour.
Yeah.
And I think I have another beer I can get, dude. I'm gonna dig. I actually have a special beer I'm not supposed to open, but I might just say fuck it and just do it.
All right, let's do one more.
But then you have to. So this is a high ABV beer. If I fucking open the coup de grace, my fucking grand flower. If I open my flower for you, Shagdog, are you gonna like? If I open my flower for you, are you gonna? Do you have a fucking beer that you can just not just a Yingling? Can you bring a fucking substantial beer on?
Are we gonna review it or?
Yeah, let's review it. Let's do a combination of drankin' and stankin'. We just fucking like hit up that fucking review and then maybe do a.
I got Anchor Steam Beer. I reviewed that a few weeks back, but I do have 4 other beers in the fridge that I showed you pictures. Did I show you a picture of?
I'm wondering if you have anything a high ABV.
Nothing cold. Wait. What the hell did I send you?
I thought you had.
Yeah, that damn picture I sent you. One of them's got to be a high ABV, right?
I thought so. I mean, I didn't know what was in the.
What the hell is that picture? Let me see if I can pull that picture back up.
I thought you had something at least 7-8% somewhere.
I'm sure that because that was an Imperial Stout. That one beer I had, I sent you a picture of the Galaxy Nitro or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Cowboy
it's
Nitro.
An Imperial IPA. It's that Nitro IPA, but that should be a pretty.
Oh no, it's a stout.
Oh, it's a stout. Oh no, you're right. Fuck. So it changes every year. It's a stout this year. You're right. Yeah, it's a stout.
Yeah.
So you should bust out that one, dude. If you bust out that, I'll bust out my my big boy.
All right, send me a message what it is for your big boy, so I can put it in the title.
All right, I'll send it to you right now, man.
All right, I'll send you a link.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, hey, thanks for watching, everyone.